The Ash Village was revealed recently by Empire magazine via a beautifully designed concept art, and there's a few things that I uncovered by looking at it in more detail. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's see what we can uncover by dissecting this concept art. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day. And it's been a great week for Avatar fans so far, because just recently Empire magazine gave us our first look at the Ash Village, and they also told us that this is called a night wraith, nicknamed Ashley by the design team. But what I want to focus on, of course, is the concept art of the Ash Village. Now, the link to this article is in the description and the pinned comment below, and I highly recommend you check it out for yourself to show some support to the incredible writers bringing us the path to Pandora. And don't forget, the new episode of Empire is releasing later this week, so you still have time to grab your digital copy. Now, initially when looking at the image from afar, you'd be forgiven to think that this is some sort of rock formation, but it is actually the remains of a home tree. Yes, this is the remains of a tree that essentially burned down due to a volcanic eruption. Now, we don't exactly know when this eruption took place. We just know that the Ash Clan, or Mongquan, was first mentioned in the Avatar comic book The Next Shadow, where Ateo and Artsu tried to take Jake's life during a ritual and were essentially exiled from the Metkayina clan. They set out on a journey to find the Ash Clan, where they say, quote, "There are other clans out there in the ashes. They will not judge you. That's where we will send you," end quote. So that, like I said, was the first time the Ash Clan was mentioned, and we know a volcanic eruption destroyed their home. Now, in the Empire magazine article that was recently released, production designer Dylan Cole stated, quote, "The Mongquan had a natural disaster befall them, and that sort of helped shape their culture," end quote. And that, of course, natural disaster was a volcanic eruption that completely destroyed their home. So it is kind of wild to think that there are probably ash from fallen Na'vi clan members spread amongst this wasteland. And Dylan Cole continued to say, quote, "They used to live not too dissimilarly to the Metkayina from Avatar 1, end quote. So I do wonder how big this tree was, as clearly everything around it is dead. And I do think this is probably the main reason why the Ash Clan is so disconnected from Eywa, because they essentially despise Eywa for what happened. I mean, imagine them living happy and cheerful like the Metkayina, and then a natural disaster just destroys everything, probably killing most of the clan members. Thus, it would make sense that they felt abandoned by Eywa, losing all hope and connection, kind of forming their own religion. Thus, going to this concept art we got a while ago, it makes sense that the people kind of worship Varang as their leader because they have nothing else left. Now, one other thing that I noticed when looking at this image is on the right hand side, we have this strange symbol hanging from a tent, the symbol with this almost like demonic face, which, looking at the horns of this face, kind of looks like Varang. Now, if you go back to the concept art we received about the Ash Village, you can see that there is also a similar image at the entrance of this village, which makes me wonder, is this Varang's symbol? Will we see more of this around Pandora? You know, is this almost going to be like a warning sign? If she visits certain areas leaving the symbol, then that means that she's watching this area. Regardless, it is interesting to see that this is not the first time seeing this symbol. Now, it isn't a exact one-to-one replica, but you can clearly see the entrance of this fallen tree also has the similar demonic face with the horns, again reminding me a lot of Varang. Another thing I noticed when looking at this concept art is that the Ash warriors at the bottom, only one of them seems to have a tail. Not quite sure how I missed that, and maybe it's just a mistake on the concept art, because if you look over on the left side, there's some sort of T-pose of a character, which I'm guessing is not meant to be there. So I don't know why these warriors don't have tails. Only one has, but I thought I would just point that out. Another question that came to mind is when I look at this art piece that was revealed at D23 during the announcement of Avatar Fire and Ash, the people behind Varang does look different than the Ash warriors in this image. So I do wonder if these people around the fire, instead of being members from the clan, if they are perhaps captured Na'vi or enemies that were tortured and is essentially going to be sacrificed in the fire, similarly to how the Ash clan essentially suffered from the fire of the volcano. Thus, Varang tortures, humiliates, and cuts off their queues, putting these masks on their heads before sacrificing them in the fire. That is also a possibility. It would be a very twisted way to torment and kill her enemies, but I can see that as a possibility. Now, going back to this art piece of the Ash village, the character right in the front on top of the dire horse is still unknown, and looking at their body structure, especially their hair, I don't know why, but for some reason the first person that I think of is Lowak. I could see a possibility where Kiri and Spider maybe is captured by the Ash clan and Lowak is essentially infiltrating them, trying to find out what's happening. Thus, he put this paint on himself, but that is just speculation. We don't know anything about this character. We don't know if it's an Ash clan member or if it's one of the Sully. Now, looking on the side there, for some reason that shadow on the right side looks like a figure. I'm not entirely sure what that is or if it's just the concept art unintentionally looking like a figure. But looking right there in the center, you can see some curved structures with sharp points, and I'm almost certain that it's these structures right here because they resemble the same shape, the same pointiness at the top, and it would make sense that this is essentially the Ash village and that this is the entrance to the Ash village, which would mean, again going back to this concept art, that the formation there at the back, the ones the Ikrans are mounted to, is in fact part of the burnt tree. Initially when I saw this, I thought it was some sort of rock formation, maybe inside a volcano, but now we know that the center of their village used to be a gigantic Hometree, which is now just charred remains. And with that additional information, you can actually see that this is the remains of a burnt down tree. Even the fire pits on the side there are remains of trees. And I do wonder if in Avatar Fire and Ash, we will get some sort of flashback on when this happened and how the Mangquan lived before this incident. Other than that, I couldn't quite make out anything else. The big thing, of course, is just the fact that that center symbol seems to be Varang's symbol. Of course, that is just a theory and hasn't been confirmed, but the fact that we see it twice in two different concept art pieces gives me the impression that it does have some meaning to the Mangquan. I am certainly curious to see how different this clan will be from what we've seen on screen before, and hopefully it won't be too long until we see an actual still image from the movie, as I expect the teaser will probably come around May. But was there anything else that you found from this concept art, and what's your overall impression of the Ash clan so far? Let me know in the comments below, and for more Avatar content, have a look at the rest of my channel. Until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.